Chosen one, God blocked the plan against you. There is a battle happening right now that you cannot see. A silent war waged in the shadows of your everyday life. Arrows meant for your back, intercepted just inches from your skin. You go about your day completely unaware of the disaster that was just canceled on your behalf. Have you ever felt a sudden, unexplainable shift in your life where things fell apart just to keep you safe? I want to hear your real story in the comments below, because this space is for honest conversations. You thought it was just bad luck, a sudden streak of misfortune that settled over your life like a thick, suffocating fog. You remember those days, the heavy mornings where pulling yourself out of bed felt like lifting mountains, the nights where the silence of your room was deafening, filled only with the echo of your own racing thoughts. You watched the doors slam shut, one by one. The opportunity you had worked so tirelessly for, the one you swore was yours, vanished into thin air without explanation. The relationship you leaned on, the person you trusted with the softest parts of your heart, suddenly grew cold and distant. The plans you mapped out with such careful precision crumbled to dust right between your fingers. It felt like a punishment. It felt like you were standing in the middle of a torrential downpour while everyone else was walking in the sunshine. You looked up at the sky and asked what you did to deserve this string of endless defeats. You were exhausted, deeply, quietly exhausted in a way that sleep could not fix. Because you didn't just lose things. You lost your sense of direction. You lost your footing. You felt completely and utterly exposed, shivering in the cold wind of rejection and failure. But there was something else, wasn't there? A strange, unsettling energy humming in the background of your life. A lingering shadow. You couldn't quite put your finger on it, but your intuition was screaming. You felt a strange friction with certain people. People who smiled at your face but left you feeling drained, hollowed out, and anxious the moment they walked out of the room. You noticed the subtle shifts in their tone, the sideways glances, the backhanded compliments wrapped in fake concern. You thought you were just being paranoid. You told yourself you were overthinking it. You brushed off the heavy, sinking feeling in your gut, because it was easier to blame yourself than to accept the terrifying reality of what was actually happening in the dark. You were under attack, not with physical weapons, not with loud declarations of war. It was quiet. It was insidious. It was a calculated, secret plan designed to tear down the very foundation of your spirit. There were conversations happening about you in rooms you haven't stepped foot in. Plans being laid out to trip you up, to block your blessings, to smear your name and dim the bright, unignorable light you carry. Envy is a silent killer, and it was breathing right down your neck. They wanted to see you fall. They wanted to watch you break, because your resilience, your purity, your quiet strength was a mirror reflecting their own darkness back at them. And they hated what they saw. So they set a trap, a perfectly designed snare, completely hidden under the leaves of your everyday routine. It was meant to ruin you. It was meant to take everything you had built and burn it to the ground. It was meant to push you into a place of such profound despair that you would never find your way back out. You walked right toward it, day by day, step by step, completely unaware of the snare waiting just inches from your feet. You were innocent in your intentions, moving forward with an open heart, trusting the ground beneath you. And then everything fell apart. The job fell through. The friendship ended in a sudden, messy explosion. The money dried up. The car broke down. The trip was canceled. You fell to your knees and wept over the loss. You grieved the connections you thought were genuine. You mourned the future you had painted in your mind. You felt abandoned by the universe, left to wander through the ruins of your own life. You bled. You cried until there were no tears left. You sat in the quiet ruin of your shattered plans, wearing the heavy cloak of grief. You thought your world was ending. You thought you were failing at the very basic task of living, but you couldn't see the unseen. You couldn't see the hand that reached down from the heavens and violently overturned the table. You couldn't see the divine interference that stepped in front of you and said, "Not this one." You were mourning a rejection. You were crying over a closed door. But behind that door was a room filled with poison. The job you cried over losing was a toxic environment designed to break your spirit and steal your peace. The person who walked away, the one you begged to stay, was a hidden enemy slowly draining your life force and secretly cheering for your downfall. The opportunity that slipped through your fingers was a gilded cage meant to keep you trapped and small. The universe didn't abandon you. God didn't turn away from you. He broke your heart to save your soul. He shattered your plans because your plans were about to destroy you. He removed those people from your life with surgical precision, ripping off the bandage so quickly it left you gasping for air, because they were quietly setting the fire that was meant to burn your house down. The destruction you felt was not a demolition. It was an extraction. You were being pulled from the wreckage before the bomb even went off. It is a terrifying thing to realize how close you came to the edge of the cliff, how close you were to handing your trust, your time, and your energy to people and situations that harbored nothing but secret malice toward you. You are allowed to grieve the illusion. You are allowed to mourn the version of reality you thought was true, because the betrayal stings, even when you realize it was a rescue. It is a deeply melancholic realization to understand that not everyone wants you to win, that the smiles were masks, that the open doors were traps. The exhaustion you carry in your bones right now is real. It is the spiritual fatigue of surviving an assassination attempt on your character and your destiny. You were fighting a war you didn't even know you were drafted into. You took it you couldn't see coming. You sit there now, feeling the phantom pains of the struggle. You are bruised. You are weary. Your trust in the world is fractured. The silence in your life right now feels heavy, almost lonely. You are standing in an empty space, looking around at the vacant seats where people used to sit, where dreams used to live. It feels like isolation. It feels like exile. But what if it is an exclusion zone? What if this empty, quiet space you are standing in is not a wasteland, but sanctuary? Imagine for a moment an ancient, sprawling forest. It is dense. It is lush. The canopy is so thick that only tiny slivers of sunlight ever reach the forest floor. You have walked these with your entire life. You know the paths. You know the shape of the shadows. It feels like home. But deep within the soil, a rot is spreading, a silent, invisible fungus wrapping itself around the roots of the oldest trees. It hollows out the trunks from the inside. It turns the sturdy oaks into brittle husks, waiting for a single strong wind to send them crashing down upon anyone walking beneath. You cannot see the rot. You only see the familiar green leaves. Then the storm comes, a sudden violent tempest that tears through your beloved forest. Lightning strikes. A fire ignites, sweeping through the underbrush, burning the familiar paths, turning everything you knew to ash and smoke. You watch from a distance, horrified, as your sanctuary is reduced to embers. You weep for the forest, You wonder why the heavens would allow such pointless destruction. But it wasn't pointless. The fire was a purge. It burned away the hidden rot. It destroyed the brittle, hollowed out trees before they could crush you in your sleep. And in the ashes left behind, the soil is suddenly rich with nutrients. The thick canopy is gone, and for the first time in centuries, pure, unhindered sunlight floods the forest floor. The destruction was the very thing required for new, healthy life to grow. Your life was that forest. The people, the jobs, the routines, they were familiar paths. But the rot was there, the hidden resentment, the secret malice, the plans designed to keep you small, to hollow you out from the inside. You couldn't see it because you were too close. You were too invested in the beauty of the canopy to realize the roots were dead. God had to send the fire. He had to let the storm rage. He had to block the path and burn the bridge, because if he had let you cross it, you would have fallen into the abyss. The rejection you experienced was not a denial of your worth. It was a deflection of a weapon formed against you. Think about the sheer amount of energy it takes to maintain a lie. The people who plotted against you in secret, the ones who smiled while holding a knife, they were operating on a frequency of pure chaos. They were parasites feeding off your light. If you had stayed in that environment, if you had gotten that job, if that relationship had survived, you would have been slowly drained of every ounce of your spirit. You would have woken up 10 years from now as a ghost of yourself. You would have been trapped in a life that looked good on the outside, but was built on a foundation of hidden betrayal and suppressed potential. You were rerouted, violently, abruptly, and painfully rerouted, because the universe does not ask for your permission when it comes to saving your life. It simply acts. It throws up the roadblock. It causes a sudden flat tire. It creates the massive, unexplainable misunderstanding that severs the tie forever. You were angry at the roadblock. You kicked it. You screamed at it. You begged for it to be moved. But you didn't know the bridge was out a mile down the road. The roadblock didn't ruin your journey. It kept you from driving off a cliff in the pitch black of night. This is the shift in the narrative. This is the moment you stop looking at the ashes and start feeling the sunlight on your face. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the survivor of a secret war. You are the chosen one, not in a grandiose, arrogant way, but in a quiet, protected way. Your spirit is too important. Your heart is too rare to be squandered on people and places that seek to destroy it. You carry a specific frequency, a genuine kindness that this world desperately needs. And because of that, you are guarded, fiercely guarded. The universe will not let you settle in a place that is infected with secret malice. It will tear the walls down around you if it has to. So breathe, take a long, deep breath and look at the empty space around you. It is quiet. It is so incredibly quiet now. The chaos is gone. The subtle, draining anxiety that used to follow you into every room has vanished. The friction is over. You don't have to fight anymore. The battle was fought on your behalf, and you were safely escorted out of the war zone. There's a profound, grounding peace in this realization. You don't need to harbor anger toward the people who plotted against you. You don't need to seek revenge. Their punishment is that they have to live with the darkness in their own hearts. Your reward is that you are free. You are standing in the clearing. Yes, you're starting over. Yes, the landscape is unfamiliar, but the ground beneath your feet is finally solid. It is not built on lies. It is not hollowed out by secret jealousy. You can rest now. You can finally drop your shoulders away from your ears. You can let the tension melt out of your jaw. The unseen arrows have stopped flying. The trap has been dismantled. You are safe. Embrace this beautiful, quiet solitude. It is not a punishment. It is a period of deep, restorative healing. It is a sanctuary where you get to rebuild yourself without anyone secretly trying to tear you down. The doors that are meant for you will open with ease. They will not require you to shrink. They will not require you to constantly look over your shoulder. Until then, sit in the sunlight. Cherish the protection that was given to you, even when it arrived disguised as a loss. You are deeply loved, fiercely protected, and completely safe. Putting together these stories takes hours of dedication. If this video brought you peace today, you can buy me a coffee using the Ko-Fi link in the description. Your volunteer support keeps this channel alive. Thank you for listening. It takes time to get used to the quiet. For so long, you walked around bracing for impact. Your muscles were coiled tight. Your jaw was locked. You lived in a state of perpetual anticipation, just waiting for the next shoe to drop. You became an expert at reading the room, analyzing every shift in tone, every slight change in someone's posture, because your survival depended on anticipating the next attack. But look at the horizon now. The sky is clear. The storm has passed. It is a strange, almost unsettling sensation, isn't it? The absence of fear. When your nervous system has only ever known the chaotic rhythm of survival, actual peace can feel terrifying. You sit in this new, empty space, and your mind plays tricks on you. You keep looking for the hidden snare. You keep waiting for the catch. There is no catch. This is simply what it feels like to finally be left alone by the darkness. This is the calm aftermath of divine intervention. You don't need to wear the heavy armor anymore. You can unbuckle it. You can let it fall to the floor. The metal is dented, scratched, and heavy with the memories of battles you never should have had to fight. Step out of it. Leave it right there in the dust. You are walking into a season where armor is no longer required, because the very environment around you has been purged. You are stepping into a season of quiet building. No loud announcements. No grand declarations on social media to prove that you are healing. No desperate need to show the people who hurt you that you are doing just fine without them. You don't care about proving them wrong anymore. That desire for revenge, that burning need for validation, it washed away with the rain. You realize now that trying to prove your worth to people who are committed to misunderstanding you is just another form of self-sabotage. Let them have their false narratives. Let them sit in the rooms you no longer enter and spin their stories. Their words have no power here. They are throwing stones at a fortress they can no longer reach. You have been granted the ultimate luxury. A clean slate, handed to you by the very forces that guarded your soul. As you move forward, you will begin to notice a difference in the way the air feels in your lungs. A lightness. The people you attract now will not come with hidden agendas. The opportunities that present themselves will not require you to compromise your spirit. You will recognize the right doors because they won't feel like a test. They won't require you to force a lock or bleed on the threshold just to prove you deserve to walk through. They will simply open. And when you walk inside, you won't feel that familiar, sinking feeling in your gut. You will just feel a deep, resonant knowing. A knowing that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. So take your time. Walk slowly through this new sanctuary. Touch the leaves. Feel the solid earth under your boots. Allow yourself the grace to heal at your own pace. There is no rush. You have survived the unseen war. and you have emerged on the other side with your heart intact. You are still soft. You are still kind. You are still you. And that after everything they tried to do to break you is your greatest victory. Thank you for listening.